Today I'm going to be talking about American Werewolf in London. That's right, I went and watched this the other day, an all-time classic everybody has told me to watch throughout the entirety of my life. The issue I had before was I'd always fall asleep before anything interesting happens, and that's kind of tough to do. Now that I actually sat down and watched American Werewolf in London, I realized how, pathetic I was as a child. How absolutely moronic I was. I was a little dirt burglar. I was a small penis dirt burglar. And I could not figure out the fact that I couldn't even make it to the first death in this film. I'd start watching it, I'd see him talking on the road, because the main, core of the beginning of this movie is there's two friends, and they decide to go backpacking across Europe. What's the deal with backpacking across Europe? I mean, I've went to Europe, I did the whole Europe thing, but I went with, a family member who had, an international license, so we just kind of fucking drove around like normal people. I don't understand the whole, vibe of, I'm gonna go to an absolutely different country, and I'm just gonna fucking walk it. I'm not... Maybe it's because I'm kind of a fat guy that doesn't I don't hate walking, I actually really enjoy walking, but across an entire continent, that's your goal? You're gonna stay at a bunch of weird ass inns and camp? You're going to another fucking continent to camp. We have better camping here in the U.S. I don't know. I don't get the whole backpacking through Europe thing. Never have. When I would go to Europe, I want to see the cool shit and then leave. I don't want to be spending 47 days walking across an endless landscape. I want to see castles. I want to see golf courses. I want to see some British lady's mom's pussy. I want to see cool shit when I go to Europe. I'm not just fucking walking and look at that, it's a sheep. That's a fucking sheep, my dude. Whoa! Oh, it's a sheep. You look at a sheep. You wouldn't look at all sheep, man. Cause I'd probably get some guy look at me. Oh, you should. I can't do it. I can't do it. But anyways, I can't. I never really got past that part. But right after that, when they get to this little bar, what's with the douche? They get to this bar, right? They get to this bar. There's these douchebag ass British people that are, oh, what's she doing here? And they're telling fucking stupid jokes. And the American shoves out the Mexican and says, remember Alamo. It's got some pretty bad jokes, but it's kind of funny and it's got some moments. And they're just asking normal questions why the fuck is there a pentagram on the wall? And they're like, hey, what pentagram? What pentagram? I'll see a pentagram on the wall, you willy Americans. And they just kind of let these guys go to their own death, because right now there's a werewolf outside. A fucking werewolf outside, killing shit, and every time it makes a sound, they're sitting in there, and the British people, what sound? What sound do you hear? No sound to me, sir. You bloody Americans are so fucking full of it. You're so fucking full of it. You're lying. You're lying to yourself. You're lying to your mother. I did not believe you heard a sound. And the Americans no, but seriously, I want to be real with you right now. There is a sound outside that sounds kind of spooky. Why is it there? Why do you have a pentagram on your wall? And why is the entire town in this bar? Oh, you bloody waker! It's just a weird opening sequence, and the bar lady was like, we should have told him, we should have made him stay, and I freaked them out by all staring at him, and making them feel like they needed to leave. I feel like that was the opposite of what we were supposed to do. That's the whole beginning of the movie, and this part I kind of get why I fell asleep, because this goes on for quite a bit, but eventually they do get outside and get attacked by a werewolf. Let's go. The Weasley friend who can't get any pussy, he dies, and he always kind of plays the guy who can't get pussy. I mean, Griffin Dunne just kind of has that face that he looks like he can't pull pussy. I don't know what it is, but he's really, really good in almost anything I've seen him in, and that holds true for this performance here as well. Throughout the whole movie, from the time he dies to the end of the film, he has an absolutely impactful ass character. He starts out as being the close friend, going through the back and forths that you get with the close friend while they're backpacking across Europe, and then throughout the film, after his buddy gets bit by the werewolf and he gets absolutely fucking hand blasted in the asshole from the werewolf, he starts popping up to warn his friend to say, hey bro, you should probably just do the old not live anymore thing. You should do the not live anymore thing. I hate you too, bro. And you should do that not live anymore thing and just save everybody else's lives, because you are going to turn into a werewolf. And the dude's like, you're fucking kidding me. That's not a thing that's gonna happen. You're stupid. That's not real. And throughout the movie, the coolest thing they do is he just starts slowly getting uglier and uglier and uglier and uglier till at the end of the film. It's just like he's deteriorating like a regular corpse would. It's a really cool effect. I really like what they did with his character. I thought it was really interesting, especially when he's one of the main driving forces of the film for a long time. I know what you're thinking. Well, King Jiffy, it's a goddamn werewolf movie. Where's the werewolf? Where's the main star of the show? Well, you see kind of a werewolf in the beginning. It's very quick. You mainly just see the guys get roughed up. And then you really don't see a werewolf again for a very, very, very long time. And usually I would get a little bit annoyed with that, but I think the way they did this in this film was absolutely perfect. It felt a lot like the first big Godzilla movie they made in the United States. Not the one with Matthew Broderick with a giant iguana monster that never actually blows fire or does anything cool like Godzilla actually does, but the other one, the good one. One with the son of a bitch from Breaking Bad, Bryan Cranston. That one was really good, and it does a really good job with the monster. Now, a lot of people complain because Godzilla isn't the forefront, but just like the wonderful Taco Bell ad that made me want to watch the first American Godzilla movie, it knew how to do something special. Build tension, build an allure to the monster, so when I actually get to see Godzilla and how massive and cool he is, I'm like, yeah, this is fucking awesome. And that's the perfect comparison to what American Werewolf in London does. It builds this tension, because after you first see the werewolf, you then spend a lot of time with the main character in a hospital bed, only getting visited by his dead friend and this really sexy nurse that you do see her titties, because for some reason this dude's talking about how he might become a werewolf, and this nurse isn't like, oh, he's not crazy, he's hot people can't be crazy. Their relationship is a little bit odd, and their love story I begin to not believe in throughout the American Werewolf in London. You kind of want to root for it, but at the same time he constantly is talking about seeing his dead friend who's decaying in front of him, and also talking about how he might become a werewolf and needs to paint like Kurt Cobain himself in order to make everything a-okay, which is just such a weird thing to be telling some girl that you just randomly met in a hospital in England. It's just a weird relationship throughout the movie. I kind of wasn't buying it. It's one of those things that, what kind of nurse are you to feel like the first absolutely insane sounding person, you're like, yeah, I believe him. He's spitting facts. You didn't know that he might be a werewolf? Well, he might be. And the first time he changes, it's such a cool scene when he changes. The first time, it's just, oh, it's such good effects. I think this movie won the Oscar for Best Visual Effects, and it absolutely deserved it. And even after you see the first change, which is absolutely sick, and you see his body morph into this giant dog, it's one of those werewolves that's a lot like the Twilight werewolves, where it turns into a giant dog. I like when the werewolf's kind of a hybrid between the old original werewolf, where it's all fuzzy and shit, but it has the long snout like a regular dog. I like where it's that hybrid between the two, like you saw in that gameplay footage I had earlier, or like the ones from Underworld. But this one being a giant dog was kind of terrifying. It's probably the most terrifying look at the giant dog style werewolf I've ever seen. It's a perfect in between of what we would later get with the Lycans in like Underworld and what we got with the original werewolf movies. Yet even after introducing what the werewolf looks like, it still doesn't focus on it during the first killings. It does a very Evil Dead-like thing where you see a lot of perspective shots and a lot of fear and a lot of death happening, but you really don't get a full look at the werewolf. It's still leading into that allure. And a lot of people love this movie, but then will complain about something like Godzilla, and I don't think it makes sense. It's what great monster movies do. It builds up the idea of the monster. Your imagination is going wild. It's pushing hard. And then it's up to the monster movie to where it gets to that last final push and then says, hey, mother trucker, look at this. Look at this. This is the monster. Does it live up to the hype? And then you get your yes and no. And I think this movie really does, because just the face of this goddamn werewolf is terrifying. You saw those little snippets I put in. It is terrifying. And the fact that the guy's losing his mind throughout this and you're not sure if he's insane or what, and then it actually shows that he's really becoming a werewolf. Yes, we knew it was going to happen because this is a werewolf movie. The movie's called Werewolf in London, but there was a moment where you're like, is he a little crazy? I don't know. It's a little, it's in the air. It's a little wacky wild. Look at me going down the road. Whoa. We be serving grandma's underpants on a family barbecue. But at the end of the day, when you actually do get to see him. I think it hits perfectly. Everything in this movie is paced pretty well. You get a nice little bit of boob action for the men out there. You get a little you get to see the main character who's in good shape, a little naked. My wife was like, "Ooh, he looks pretty nice." And I'm like, "Hey," and then you see his penis. If you're a woman that's wanting to see penis in movie, yeah, this is this is the movie for you. Look at that. We got a movie with penis in it for you. There you go. So it's got a little bit of everything for everybody. It's got some comedic beats. It's just like a really good movie. I really enjoyed this film. It was a fun monster movie. I always worried that it was going to be like a lot of those 80s nostalgia cult movies where it just really doesn't land. One of those is like the werewolf playing basketball one. I can't remember what that's called, with Michael J. Fox. That movie's okay. It just never hit. It was one of those 80s movies like Lost Boys where I was like, it's fine. It just didn't really ever hit for me that well. This one hit, and it's an absolute classic, and you need to go out and watch it. Thank you guys so much for watching my weird movie breakdown that I do on Mondays. I know they're not as high effort as my video game reviews, but I still have fun doing them. So leave a like, leave a comment, and make sure to fall in love with me and be really weird. No, don't do that, please, please, please. Goodbye.